well required turns. Fine.
Right price. It's funny. I just added some butter.
Oh, did you? Did you?
Yeah, I said. I know when it gets starting to start slurping.
Yeah, I turned it on Friday and there was nothing. It was bone dry.
Yes.
So
The first thing when I came in, I checked.
oh, thank you. All right, so it's
We're on the
happy.
same track.
It's ready to go. Yeah.
So, got anything today or?
Let's see what works. Oh yeah, all is well. The closing.
Okay.
So that's gonna be.
Yeah.
I will day I
So, that's it? That's all that's
Yeah,
required?
well, the other one is kind of a meditative. Actually, you could do maybe like a shakery kind of thing on this one because I'm going to play it kind of like this is what I'm thinking. When I pray, I feel my heart beat, my heart beat, my love. Try the little black guy. Yeah. No, one, yeah, those. That might be just the right. Yeah. Subtle enough and yet groovy enough.
I wonder if it's in order for anybody but you to be.
There is a 2/4 bar in it, so don't feel freaked out when it goes by. You don't even notice it if you're singing or whatever else. But if you're a drummer, you're going, my one is 3.
And it's where?
It's barely noticeable, but it shows up every verse, so it sounds like this. Turn around right before we go back to the top. So you can keep steady, and it won't make any difference. But if you think one is 3, all of a sudden this is 3.
living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Trying to figure out who I am, or who I'm supposed to be. Feel good about where I stand, so I can make the most of me. Coming back down from space, a million miles away. There's a lot of love in this place. I'm just trying to say I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Been a long time living this way, worrying about what people say. Feeling like I don't fit in, but I won't give up, no I won't give in. Been looking for something more. What you really looking for? It's been with you since you were born, since you were born. You're good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. You only live once. I'm good with myself. I'm there for my friends until the very end. You only live once. I'm good with myself. I'm there for my friends until the very end. I want to see another love revolution. Find a way to be a better person. If we come together like we should, we could all be good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
Good morning. We are good. Isn't it good to have Michael Hatfield back? Woo! And this is a good day because today and every day we have swung wide the doors to the presence of God, knowing that Spirit is in this place and in all places and all people. And just as the sun awakens us to a new day, the Spirit of God within awakens us to divine glory. And this glory within and around us is everywhere we look and in every situation we encounter. With our hearts centered in Spirit, we can quiet our thoughts and meditate on the wonder of all of God's creation and our oneness with it. So I invite you now to take a deep breath. Become comfortable and gently release any cares of the day, because your sole purpose at this moment is to experience the divine. And you begin to do so now as you relax into the sacred time and space at Unity Spiritual Center. Seeing through eyes of oneness, acknowledging our oneness, we at Unity Spiritual Center celebrate and honor people of every culture, of every creed, of every religion, of every race, of every age, and every lifestyle, knowing that there are many paths to God, many faces of God, many names for God, but only one God. And that God is expressing through all people in unique, special, and individual ways. As you look at the flame of the candle that we light every Sunday, remember that you too have a divine flame within, that you are a divine spark, that you, and yes, I mean you, are an individualized expression of God. We honor the one presence and power of God with Unity's foundation statement, which you'll find on the screens behind me. And I invite you to join me and sing it aloud together. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. We give thanks for our spiritual community and for the beauty of our spiritual center. We give thanks that Unity Spiritual Center is a welcoming, warm, and inclusive community dedicated to studying and putting into practice empowering principles and tools for happiness, health, prosperity, and successful living. We give thanks that through our spiritual teachings, we can create extraordinary lives and a peaceful planet through our relationships with the loving God presence within each one of us and through our relationships with each other. Our vision and the opportunity for each one of us here is that you discover the power within you to create the life of your dreams, that you have peace of mind and deep happiness, that you enjoy joyous and loving relationships with yourself, with spirit, and with others, that you spend your days doing what you love and feel called to do, and most of all, that you know that your life matters, that you make a difference, and that the world is a better place because you're here. If you're visiting us for the first time, and I see a number of you are, it looks like you have received the gifts that we like to give out, which is a shell lay. We've been doing this for a really long time. I don't even know how long we've been doing this, but it's been decades where we hand out a shell lay that has a tag on it that says, just as God has a design for every shell in the sea, God also has a design for your life. So we are so thrilled you're joining us today. We pray you will feel nourished by your time here today. We do have information packets in the back, I believe, that contain information about Unity Spiritual Center in particular and Unity in general. And just know that if you'd ever like to have a discussion about what Unity is, whether you've been here for one time or 1,000 times, I would welcome that conversation. So feel free to contact me using the printed information that's on the back of all of our flyers and printed information. You also have come on a fun day because it's a slightly different from what we usually do. And one of the things that we're going to be doing that's not something we do every Sunday is we're going to have a potluck here in the sanctuary following the service, along with an open mic event where people can come up and share their gifts, whether it's a joke, a favorite poem, a song, whatever they want to do. So it's a great chance to get to know one another, and we look forward to welcoming you into our community and getting to know you better as well. So at this time, as we move into the meditative portion of our service and prepare to raise our voices together in song, please do turn off or mute any cell phones or other electronic devices if you haven't done that already. And with that, I will turn it over to our music maestro, Michael Hatfield.
Good morning. You'll see some lyrics up behind you. This is a tune written, the lyricist is Karen Raven, and I wrote the music for it because it said, I think it needs to be sung. So I'm going to play the melody once so you guys can get used to it. It's pretty simple. And then we'll try singing it a couple times, and we're going to do this in a meditative way. Sometimes I'm a little barbaric, but not today. We're just going to get behind this. Only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. Only as much as I dream can I be. We'll try that again. And then we'll do it again. Only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. Only as much as I dream can I be. We're starting to get there. I can see it. I can hear it. I can feel it. I think it's so good I'm going to raise the key. Only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. Only as much as I dream can I be. One more time. Only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. Only as much as I dream can I be. Truer words never spoken.
So now as we continue to get comfortable in our seats and relax even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation, let us open our hearts to receive the message of today's daily word. The message for today is giving. Is there anyone who would like to read today's daily word? All right, first hand I saw was Valerie. The daily word will be read by Valerie Hatfield.
In giving, I open to my highest purpose. The prayer of St. Francis tells us, "For it is in giving that we receive." The simple act of sharing with someone opens my heart, creating an awareness of the energetic link between that person and myself. Every living thing is connected through the allness that is spirit. The carbon dioxide the plants need to survive is created in me, while the oxygen I need to breathe comes from the plants. Today, I look around and allow myself to see all the ways I am contributing to the world and to realize all the world gives back to me in exchange. In giving, I take part in the divine flow of life. The more I give, the more my life receives, and the more expansively I express my divinity. And from Proverbs 18:16, a gift opens doors. It gives access to the great.
Thank you, Valerie. Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. We have a community prayer box that's placed on the back table, along with prayer request forms that are printed on green paper. And you are always invited to fill a prayer request form out and place it in the box. But why don't we just hold those prayers in our hearts right now, not knowing what they say. The prayers that haven't been written down, let's hold those in our hearts as well. Let's just know that no matter what the prayer is, let's know for each person represented in that prayer box that divine love is enfolding them and divine order is taking place in their lives. The prayer requests that are placed in the box are prayed on by me and by our USC prayer team for 30 days. And then we forward them to Silent Unity at Unity's World Headquarters, where they're prayed on for an additional 30 days. And as I mentioned, we have green prayer request forms that you are always invited to fill out and place in the box. Before we go on with our the other part of our prayer service, I did want to just acknowledge the fire that's going on in our state north of us. We live in a very beautiful state that often is subject to fire, and I don't want the frequency of those headlines to make us indifferent to what's going on. So I found a beautiful prayer by a man named Rabbi Paul Kipnis, which I adapted. It's called A Prayer for Those Affected by Fire. And just wanted to read it. You can close your eyes if you like, and let's just send our positive energy to all those who are dealing with fire right now or who have recently dealt with fire. Oh God, as flames burn, wreaking havoc upon forests and homes, firefighters, animals, and other living things, and most of all, our sense of security, we turn to you for comfort and support. Help us to differentiate between flames of destruction and light that shows us your way. We know that flames can destroy, and we know that you ask us to care for this world, an awesome responsibility. We also know that we can seek you in the flames. Be with us now, these smoke and fire-filled days. Draw us close to those harmed by these flames, hearing their cries, responding to their needs. Lead us to support those who fight the fires, who care for the displaced, who bring healing to those suffering. Though our attention span seems so short, may we be slow to forget those in danger. And please bring cooling wind and rain from the heavenly realms to Northern California. May we all embrace at least one lesson spoken aloud by so many who, facing the flames, rush to pack up their valuables. That memories of love and of time spent with family and friends are priceless, holy, and sacred. This can never be taken away. As we rush to meet the challenge of living in this imperfect world of ours, may we slow down enough to cherish those who are truly valuable, who are truly holy to us. Amen. So now is the time in our service to make our prayers audible. This is the time to offer your prayer needs to your spiritual family here so that we can support you and stand with you. So as we sing the first stanza to the song Michael plays, and he'll lead us through it, you are invited afterwards to speak your prayer aloud, and we will answer each prayer request by singing "Your Prayer is My Prayer Too."
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. 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 Your prayer is my prayer too.
We also have a time in our service where we invite you to share things that you're grateful for, things that you feel blessed by, your Thanksgivings. This is the time to share those things with your spiritual family as well.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We give thanks for this opportunity to bless and to be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the feelings of connection, of peace and warmth that fill our hearts and minds right now. We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community, in our state, in our nation, and in our world. And we affirm that no matter what appearances are, always and in all ways, divine love and divine order is everywhere present. At Unity Spiritual Center, your prayer is our prayer too. Amen.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here and right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I play. Right here and right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God.
That was perfect, wasn't it? That was perfect. So good morning. I'm going to do something different today during the service as well. This is something that I tried out about a month ago. But for those of you who are visiting for the first time or who haven't been here in a month, we've been talking about inspiration. We've been talking about inspiration all month, and we've looked at different aspects of it. We've looked at why inspiration is important, how we can be more inspiring. We've kind of looked at it like a jewel, because it is a jewel, and we've looked at all these different facets of it. But today, what I wanted to do is to actually read works that were inspired by someone taking a look at something in life, taking a look at life itself, and being so moved that they wanted to write a poem. So before I begin with that, I want to ask you, how many people would say that you like poetry? Raise your hand. Okay, good. So it's about half and half. How many people feel kind of scared by poetry, like you don't understand what it is and you're really not sure you know what to do with it? Raise your hand. All right, good. Thank you, Ron, for your honesty, because I think poetry is kind of a scary thing in a way for some people, because when we were introduced to it in school, it was more technical, wasn't it? And it was probably more formal. And it was probably people who lived about 300 years ago who were writing in forms that didn't seem relevant at all to our lives. So I have deliberately chosen 10 poems that break that mold, that are extremely relevant to our lives, and I might add are sacred, that they speak to that spark in you that brought you here today, the spiritual part of you. They speak to how to live life in a way that's more mindful, that's more attentive, and that's more deep. So are you up for that? And what I'd like to do, and this is what I did a month ago, is I will read a poem. If you feel moved by it and you want to comment, raise your hand so we can have a dialogue. And if you don't, that's fine too. I will move on to the next one. So does that sound like something you're game for? All right. So Marcy, I'm going to bring this microphone over. It's already on. I can hear it. And I'm going to bring a chair. And I'm going to sit down. Now, preparing for this, and I did prepare for this, I came across a wonderful article by Roger Housden. Now, some of you were attending the church when I brought Roger Housden in. Anybody here remember who he was? He's a very elegant English gentleman, and he's a big deal. He's a New York Times bestselling author. And the reason he is because he's put together collections of poetry that speak to particular themes. So Roger Housden has been here, and maybe if you're interested, I'll bring him back again. But he wrote this really interesting article for the Huffington Post called Why Poetry is Necessary. And I'm just going to, throw a few popcorn bits out to you, like why am I taking the time to do this? Housden says that great poetry has power to start a fire in a person's life. It can alter the way we see ourselves. It can change the way we see the world. He says poetry at its best calls forth our deep being. And he said that because it's so small, because it's a very small piece, you're not reading a novel. He said, what's there is what's so often passed over in daily life. It's the miraculous, the unexpected, the undreamt of. He said, poems are necessary because they honor the unknown, both in us and in the world. And when we listen to a poem, or especially when we try to write a poem, we become more attentive. We become more mindful. And you should be asking yourself questions, like why did he or she decide to focus on that? And what does that mean? How does that make the point they're trying to make? So, in the context of what we've been looking at all this month, inspiring, which comes from a root word that suggests the presence of the divine, because to inspire, according to the root word, is to breathe upon or into. So with that, I'm going to read sacred poetry. The first one is a poem that was written by a woman named Denise Levertov, and it's called The Avowal. The Avowal. As swimmers dare to lie face to the sky and water bears them, as hawks rest upon air and air sustains them, so would I learn to attain free fall and float in Creator Spirit's deep embrace, knowing no effort earns that all surrounding grace. Perhaps a more traditional poem that rhymes, but isn't that a lovely image? Just imagine yourself sinking back in a pool and being held by the water. You're not going to sink. And she compares that, as sometimes I do, when I say rest in the chair, you're being held. She compares that to being held by our Creator. Any thoughts? Okay, go on. This is one called The Journey by David White. David White, I did an impression of him last time I was here. I will not repeat that. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to hear me make fun of him. He's a wonderful Welsh poet, and he is someone to know about. He's out of Seattle now. This is called The Journey. Above the mountains, the geese turn into light again, painting their black silhouettes on an open sky. Sometimes everything has to be inscribed across the heavens so you can find the one line already written inside you. Sometimes it takes a great sky to find that small, bright, and indescribable wedge of freedom in your own heart. Sometimes, with the bones of the black sticks left when the fire has gone out, someone has written something new into the ashes of your life. You are not leaving. You are arriving. And if you want to say something or that moves you to remember something in your own life, just raise your hand. Kathy.
I have been learning that we never stop growing. I never stop growing, and the more open I am to what's around me, the more it enhances and brings out what is already in me, which to me back home and beautifully.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Kathy. Joy.
When I used to, well, different times I've done the tarot reading and I've never seen the death card and I always get like all tense and, but actually through the reading of that, I realized that it's really an opening, it's a rebirth. So closure to one thing, that's the door to another. And if I shift my mind towards an opportunity, it's really hard to do that. That's the difficult part of it. Being held by God, by your spirit, by having the faith and trust, that's hard too, especially when you're in the midst of these transitions. But having the faith to cling to is so rich when you have that to practice it, to hear it. That's why I love coming to church, because it just fortifies it. And thankful for each new day.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Joy. And that's another reason, indirectly you suggested another reason for poetry is that it's different, right? It's different from what we usually hear. It's different from a sermon. It's different from an inspirational self-help book. It's different from a conversation with a good friend. So sometimes there can be things that just help us to see things in a different way. And for those of you who don't know her, Mary Oliver, anybody heard of Mary Oliver before? Yeah, Joy has. And Kathy, fantastic poet. She's still living. Highly, highly recommend her work. She's the one who was responsible for that line, that great line that many of you have probably heard. What is it that you plan to do with your one wild, precious life? Have you heard that before? That was Mary Oliver. So this is a poem by her that I'm about to read. She often turns to nature for her work. This is called Morning at Great Pond. It starts like this. Forks of light slicking up out of the east, flying over you and what's left of night. Its black waterfalls, its craven doubt, dissolves like gravel as the sun appears, trailing clouds of pink and green wool, igniting the fields, turning the ponds to plates of fire. The creatures there are dark flickerings you make out one by one as the light lifts, great blue herons, wood ducks shaking their shimmering crests, and knee-deep in the purple shallows, a deer drinking. As she turns, the silver water crushes like silk. Let me say that again. As she turns, the silver water crushes like silk, shaking the sky, and you're healed then. You're healed then from the night. Your heart wants more. You're ready to rise and look, to hurry anywhere, to believe in everything. So really speaking to that moment that probably all of us have had sometime in nature, seeing something that just touched our hearts so deeply that we could believe in everything. This is one by Rumi. I know many of you have heard of Rumi. He was a Sufi poet who wrote in the 14th century and has a translator, American translator out of Georgia, of all places, named Coleman Barks. So this is a little piece by Rumi called Quietness. Inside this new love, die. Your way begins on the other side. Become the sky. Take an axe to the prison wall. Escape. Walk out like someone suddenly born into color. Do it now. Yeah. How many times do we live in prisons of our own making? And we forget that we can take an axe to the prison wall and we can live our lives like someone suddenly born into color. Powerful poem. Yes, Kathy.
One of the prisons that I am reading many of us lay claim to is perfectionism. And a friend of mine just recently sent me a little quote that you don't need to be perfect to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that sounded really cliche to me. And then I thought about it more and more, and it had deeper meaning. How much of my life have I spent thinking I can do things if I'm not perfect? And understanding finally that no one is perfect. All of us don't make the mark. We just are amazing that we go towards.
Yeah.
Prison wall, really good imagery for that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kathy. I have another one that's similar, that really speaks to what you just said, so I'm going to skip ahead and read that because perfect. This is a poem by Ellen Bass, who I think is still in Santa Cruz, a contemporary poet. It's called Don't Expect Applause. And yet, wouldn't it be welcome at the end of each ordinary day? The audience could be small, the theater modest, folding chairs in a church basement would do. Just a short, earnest burst of applause that you got up that morning and one way or the other made it through the day. You soaped up in the steaming shower, drank your Starbucks in the car, and let the guy with the Windex wipe your windshield during the long red light at Broad Street. Or maybe you were that guy, not daring to light up while you stood there because everyone's so down on smoke these days. Or you kissed your wife as she hurried out the door, even though you were pretty sure she was meeting her lover at the Flamingo Motel, even though you wanted to grab her by a hank of her sleek hair. Maybe your son's in jail, your daughter's stopped eating, and your husband's still dead this morning just like he was yesterday and the day before that. And yet, you put on your shoes and take a walk, and when a neighbor says good morning, you say good morning back. Would a round of applause be amiss, even if you weren't good, even if you yelled at your kid, poisoned the ants, drank too much, and said that really stupid thing you promised yourself you wouldn't say, even if you don't deserve it. Yeah. Run. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. People like that one, right? It speaks to what we go through, doesn't it? And it speaks to our spiritual journey. It really does.
And
Kathy.
Karen Jeffer said in one of her talks that how often do we get up and look at ourselves in the mirror and go, "You're wonderful."
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Yeah. It's so true. Which is a perfect segue into the next one, which is one of my favorite ones. It's by a Sufi poet who I believe was came after Rumi, Hafiz. Wonderful, and I read him last time. Very funny, often very funny poet. It's called "We Have Not Come to Take Prisoners." We have not come here to take prisoners, but to surrender even more deeply to freedom and joy. We have not come into this exquisite world to hold ourselves hostage from love. Run, my dear, from anything that may not strengthen your precious budding wings. Run like hell, my dear, from anyone likely to put a sharp knife into the sacred, tender vision of your beautiful heart. We have a duty to befriend those aspects of obedience that stand outside of our house and shout to our reason, oh please, come out and play. For we have not come here to take prisoners or to confine our wondrous spirits, but to experience ever and ever more deeply our divine courage, freedom, and light. Shirley.
That's a beautiful way of expressing purpose.
Yes. And the reminder that no matter what our purpose is, we all have divine courage, freedom, and light. That's begging to be let out, as Kathy was saying. And now we need to remember that we're amazing. We're amazing, even if we poison the ants, right? Yeah. This is somewhat similar in vein. It's called The Happiest Day. It's by a woman named Linda Paston, who I'm not personally familiar with. It was early May, I think, a moment of lilac or dogwood, when so many promises are made, it hardly matters if a few are broken. My mother and father still hovered in the background, part of the scenery, like the houses I had grown up in, as if they would be torn down later. That was something I knew but didn't believe. Our children were asleep or playing, the youngest as new as the new smell of the lilacs. And how could I have guessed their roots were shallow and would be easily transplanted? I didn't even guess that I was happy. The small irritations that are like salt on melon were what I dwelt on, though in truth, they simply made the fruit taste sweeter. So we sat on the porch in the cool morning, sipping hot coffee. Behind the news of the day, strikes and small wars, a fire somewhere, I could see the top of your dark head and thought not of public conflagrations, but of how it would feel on my bare shoulder. If someone could stop the camera then, if someone could only stop the camera and ask me, "Are you happy?" Perhaps I would have noticed how the morning shone in the reflected color of lilac. Yes, I might have said, and offered a steaming cup of coffee. how they just go right over our head in the routine of the day. So it's about being mindful. It's about being attentive to those small joys and those sweet things that add so much to life. Anything else? This is one that I like a lot because I'm doing a lot of painting these days, and it's by a local poet, Lawrence Ferlinghetti, who opened City Lights in North Beach. It's from a longer work called Instructions for Painters and Poets, and I just adapted it. It's cut down. This is an excerpt from that. I asked 100 painters and 100 poets how to paint sunlight on the face of life. Their answers were ambiguous and ingenuous, as if they were all guarding trade secrets. Whereas, it seems to me, all you have to do is conceive of the whole world and all humanity as a kind of artwork, a site-specific artwork, an art project of the God of light, the whole earth and all that's in it, to be painted with light. And the first thing you have to do is paint out postmodern painting. And the next thing is to paint yourself in your true colors, in primary colors, as you see them, without whitewash. Paint yourself as you see yourself, without makeup, without masks. Then paint your favorite people and animals with your brush loaded with light. And be sure you get the perspective right and don't fake it, because one false line leads to another. And don't forget to paint all those who live their lives as bearers of light. Paint their eyes and the eyes of men and women known only for the light of their minds. Paint the light of their eyes, the light of sunlit laughter, the song of eyes, the song of birds in flight. And remember that the light is within, if it is anywhere, and you must paint from the inside. You know, it's something that came out in our discussion of inspiration. I don't know if you remember this, but this idea of authenticity, of how it's hard to be inspiring if you're not being genuine. It's hard to be inspiring if you're not being who you really are, if you're not letting your true colors, your primary colors come out, if you're trying to whitewash. So I thought that was a beautiful one that spoke to that. Yeah, that's right. Hey, True Colors, we could have sung that. I didn't pick out the poems in time, but yeah, one of my favorite songs. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, please read it. Yeah, that's awesome. That's by Araya Mountain Dreamer, a longer work called The Invitation, and it speaks exactly to that, doesn't it? About just being authentic, just showing up as you are, and how inspiring that is, you know. Not the pat answers about what you do for a living, but what is it that stirs your soul? Yeah, thank you, Kathy. Yeah, Joy. exactly. And then that's the hope, that they inspire people to take another look at their lives, or, yeah, how they're showing up, and maybe think, I could show a few more of my true colors, right? That's what the world needs. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest lessons that's been so hard for me is to stop caring what other people think.
Well,
It's not about what other people think. It's about who I am in my highest and best and deepest self. It doesn't matter what they think about it.
well,
Anyway, those two are so important for me.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. I mean, it truly makes me sad to think of how many years, if not whole lifetimes, people live guarded and scared to really show who they are. And the world really needs our light. It really does. And isn't it interesting how inspiring it can be that when you're with someone who you know is being genuine, who you know isn't putting on a false mask, doesn't that inspire all of us to do the same? It's like, well, if you're willing to be vulnerable, I can do it too, right? It's such a gift we can give each other.
The last phrase is Marianne Williamson's,
Yeah.
Our deepest fear. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Yeah.
Just like you said.
Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you, Kathy, actually for modeling something. I think the next time I do this, I'm going to ask people to bring poems that mean something to them, because you've really contributed to the conversation by doing that. So thank you so much. No coincidences, right? It was a divine synchronicity. All right, let's see. How about one more? I've got three more, but maybe just one more. Or maybe two more that are on a similar message from what we've just been talking about. This is called Easter Exultet by James Broughton. Shake out your qualms, shake up your dreams, deepen your roots, extend your branches, trust deep water and head for the open, even if your vision shipwrecks you. Quit your addiction to sneer and complain. Open a lookout, dance on a brink, run with your wildfire. You are closer to glory, leaping an abyss than upholstering a rut. That is just like such a brilliant line. I can't stand it. I'm going to read it again. You are closer to glory, leaping an abyss than upholstering a rut. Not dawdling, not doubting, intrepid all the way, walk toward clarity. At every crossroad, be prepared to bump into wonder. Only love prevails. En route to disaster, insist on canticles. Lift your ineffable out of the mundane. Nothing perishes, nothing survives, everything transforms. Honeymoon with big joy. Right? All right. And then the very last one is called Let Me Be Beautiful Like Sea Glass by a woman named Gwen O'Gara. Let my edges that cut be stroked by sand and salt. Let my slick surfaces coarsen till it's crushed to bits. Let my colors soften as they scrape the bottom. Let the waves love me in their rough way. Let me be changed by that love. Let me not forget that I held another, yet fully inhabit the particularity. Let me be smooth enough to be rubbed by smooth fingers and slipped inside a pocket or a bowl. Let me prove that beauty is born when something breaks. Let me be beautiful like sea glass. All right. That's what I got. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kathy, for your contributions, as I said. And I'm going to give you some homework, because I'll do this again in a month. I'm going to keep playing with it and see if you can just let yourself explore in a library, poetry, maybe Google inspirational poems. If you know or remember a poet you loved in high school like E.E. Cummings, maybe look up an E.E. Cummings poem. I just invite you to spend a little time with poetry in the coming month and see where it leads you. Thank you. To lean back, we got it, into your chair, to feel held by that chair back, just like the poem spoke of, being held by the water in a free fall into the pool. And let's just use this time now to shift attention from our plans, concerns, our worries, to the center of being, in which we know Spirit is all. Spirit is everywhere, and the essence of everything. So let us turn our attention now, so that we may know that Spirit is in the center of our being. And we are one as we enter into prayer. I am peace at the core of my being. Spirit is peace. I am one with the Spirit of peace. Breath by breath, I settle into a peace that instills calm, confidence, and courage. There is nothing to do, nowhere to go in this moment of being. I am peace in the silence. I listen to inner wisdom, and I am guided to live my purpose. Within my mind and heart, intuition flows, an ever-ready stream of direction. Wisdom is natural to me, for I am one with the Spirit of wisdom. I choose wisely, purposely, prayerfully, I am attentive in the silence. Healing energy flows throughout my being, renewing my mind and body. In this moment, I release any thought that lessens well-being. I attune to the spirit of life, recognizable as healing, renewing vitality. Well-being is my experience as I know the truth of my divine life in prayer. My thoughts, words, and actions create a space for peace and love. I hold the world and all beings in the light of peace and love. Guarding my thoughts, I choose compassion. Measuring my words, I choose encouragement. Preparing my actions, I choose kindness. I am one with the spirit of peace and love, always and in this moment. As we complete this period of prayer, let us anticipate the hours ahead by intending to remain centered in abundant peace, wisdom, and life. One with God, our source, we embody these divine qualities by which we experience and express the light of the world. And so it is. Amen. So as Valerie has turned up the lights in our outer sanctuary, begin now to return to it, knowing that you can go to your inner sanctuary at any time. And perhaps taking another deep breath, moving your fingers or your feet. Come back to waking consciousness, and when you're ready, open your eyes. Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. And here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. And I invite you to join with me in saying them aloud. Our vision is: centered in God, we co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is: we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are: We are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, feeling enriched by what we've experienced here today and what we're about to experience, let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. Practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we will be tithing 10% of the offering collected today to our in-house Unity Community Outreach Fund. So let's bless our love offerings, putting them in our hands or next to our hearts as we say our offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
So remember earlier on when I said I wasn't going to make a lot of noise? I lied. I think, Ron, we're going to kind of start it easy and kind of get rough. Kind of like Tina Turner. Can we go there? We're going to go there.
I'm not worried about tomorrow. Today I declare freedom from yesterday's mistakes of the past. All things are made brand new. And don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should? Well, I can change my reality by changing my mind. Perfect peace, joy, and happiness is yours and it's mine. I am loved and so are you. And don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should? Let me hear you say all is well. All is well. Divine Spirit is directing me right now. I said now all is well. Well, all is well. All is well and unfolding as it should. Okay, Ron, you ready? I am cloaked in the Spirit. I am fed by the divine. I am one with all that is. My soul is free from time. I am blessed and so are you. And don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should? Let me hear you say all is well. All is well. Divine Spirit is directing me right now. I said all is well. Oh, all is well. All is well and unfolding as it should. Sing it again now. All is well. All is well. Divine Spirit is directing me right now. I said all is well. All is well. All is well and unfolding as it should. Okay, sorry about that.
One of my worst fears just came true where I was leading the audience in the wrong beat. That's a hard one to get.
That's part of your poetry there.
I
You're
guess that's
marching
it.
to your own drummer.
I was definitely doing that.
We give thanks for the many blessings that are in our church this very moment. We open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that are ours to choose. We are filled with a mighty faith that empowers and frees us to live our divine purpose and serve our community with excellence. And so it is.
I want to thank people giving service today, including our ushers, Shirley Harris and Valerie Hatfield. I want to thank Marcy, as always, for the beautiful slides and for working the slide projector. And I want to thank Candy and Rosa for the wonderful spread that I know they're going to help set up. And it is a potluck, as I mentioned earlier. So if you didn't bring something, you can always run down to Walgreens and get chips or drinks. But we're going to set a table up in here, and we're going to open it up to our open mic in about 10 minutes. I want to thank all of those who came out yesterday to volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. Kathy. Kathy was there. We had a total of 9 people, including 2 kids. And it was nice to have Unity Spiritual Center represented with a pretty good number of people. It was a wonderful day. We got swag. They gave us free t-shirts. I mean, you know, how many service projects do you get to do where they actually give you something? So I do hope that we will have a bigger group next time. Habitat for Humanity, we're going to do it quarterly. I'll be sure and let you know when we're helping out the next time. But it was just it was a great day, wasn't it, Kathy? Yeah. We are still taking money for books, so feel free to look and see if there are books that appeal to you. It's on the honor system right now because of the open mic. If you see something on the dollar table, put $1 in the basket. $5 table, put $5 in the basket. But we do have some wonderful books for you to take home and put in your own library. And I think that's all we're going to talk about today, so we can get started with the open mic. So let's bring in our children.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Today we worked in the kitchen, and kids wanted to share some of the stuff we used to make some special snacks for y'all. Cantaloupe, watermelon, pineapple, and strawberries. Then we made skewers, and then we continued our kindness rock project from last week, since there was only one attendee, and the kids wanted to share some of the words they chose for the rocks. Hoe. I do have one here. Oh yeah, show it off. Hoe. And Alex, which was and Tegan just made a ladybug.
Okay.
That's good too. So let's bless our kids. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you.
And we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things. Thank you, God.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow.